Okay, man. Let me just make this very clear, very crystal. And this is to the channel Rig NFL Breakdowns. So I'm gonna tell you why I flagged your last video, and it's for good reason. Because you got a video that includes one of my family members. Okay. You got in that video, you had the nerve to not only talk about the people, the athletes that say that the game is scripted and rigged, but one of those athletes never once even said anything about that. You got a video line on one of my family. And when it comes to family, I don't play around with that at all. Now, first of all, young man, because I'm assuming you're younger than me, okay, because I'm in my 30s. I'm assuming you probably 21, 22, 23 years old, right? So I understand that you don't know any better. You just trying to hustle like everybody else. I get all that, right? You trying to get views and doing this and that. But look, brother, listen. The main reason why I responded to your videos in the past, because a lot of your videos don't make a logical amount of sense at all. Okay? You say that the league is scripted and rigged, but yet you're trying to bet from it. You're gambling from it. So I had to let people know to watch out for channels like yours. And I'm going to tell you why I defend the NFL, because I have family in it. Okay? I have family that plays in it currently, and I have a family that's retired. And in that same video, you got one of my family that's retired from that's a retired Hall of Famer. Now, my cousin is Sharice Weaver. She is married to Hall of Famer Tim Brown. That man married her back in 1997. I was 7 years old around that time. So they've been married around 25 years. They got 4 kids. Those are my blood relatives. Those are my blood cousins. Now, me and my family watched Tim Brown his entire career. This is a man who got drafted out of Notre Dame. I believe he won the Heisman Trophy back in 87, 88. Or he might have been a candidate. I think he might have won. I've read a book of his. For him to be a Heisman candidate from Notre Dame, that's not easy to do. Now, Manti Te'o, we all saw that documentary. We all know about him, right? I think he's like the second notable Notre Dame candidate to be nominated for a Heisman, even though he didn't get it. Johnny Manziel beat him out. But for Tim Brown to do it in the 80s, that's not easy to do. Okay? And throughout Tim Brown's entire career, he never once even said the NFL was scripted rigged. That man remained humble. He took his losses like a man. Because, young man, let me explain something to you right now. A lot of these athletes work very hard to get to where they are. Especially people who are my skin color. Now, I understand you're probably not black at all. You're either Italian, Hispanic, Caucasian, or white. So you don't understand what it's like to be this skin color at all. So I understand it. And it's not that I'm trying to play race card, but I'm trying to explain something to you. Tim Brown and players like Tim Brown had to really grind it out. They had to work really hard and earn that NFL contract. Ain't nothing in this life for free. I'm going to tell you that again. Anything you want in this life, you got to earn it, brother. Okay? Ain't nobody just going to hand you nothing. Especially for the black man and the black woman, the athletes. We got to work extra hard because of our skin color to make it. I'm going to tell you like I told these other channels that I've had to beef with in the past, because you ain't the only one. On my ZTR channel, I've crushed a lot of other channels like yours. Right? I brought the pain because those people are out to scam people. They tell a bunch of lies. Those channels will tell you it's WWE, but every company, every sports, just because sports entertainment to me is ran like Vince McMahon's company. The NFL, NBA, those are national sports. They're no different than the Olympics. And I dare you say the Olympics is scripted. Okay, that's a bunch of foolishness. That's not reality. But anyways, the NFL has too many athletes in it. And everybody don't get the chance to make the roster. You got to work very hard to even stay on the 53-man roster. But Tim Brown, throughout his entire career, worked hard. And that man was on a Raider team that when he first came, they wasn't doing nothing. They went years without a championship. The last time they ever went to a Super Bowl and won it was back in 1984. That was before you and I were even born. Because I was born in 1990. Okay? So they didn't win since the early 80s. Right? Around, yeah, even before then, when they beat the Eagles. That was way back in like 81, 80, man. Like, it's been a long time. Okay? So what I'm trying to say is Tim Brown did not get to a Super Bowl until later on in his career. Now, I met Tim Brown back when I was around 14. This was like, I think this is December of 04. I think that was just going into my freshman year in high school. I think this was right before he left and went to Tampa Bay to go join John Gruden. But I met the man when he was in his last year of the Raiders, when Sharice brought him to a Christmas dinner. Again, man, just humble, nice guy. Again, Tim Brown was not raised to blame other people for his problems. It's like you do it. Your whole channel is based on basically blaming the elites, blaming other people, blaming the referees for why these teams fail, which is stupid, man. It really is. It don't make no sense. These athletes work very hard in their careers. They work very hard to get to where they are. For one, they got to work hard to stay on the team, and then on top of that, they putting their body through a lot of damage, getting hit. Back when Tim Brown was playing, you didn't have all these padding you have on the helmets. There was none of these rules. Tim Brown came in an era where players was getting headshotted. They was getting their helmets knocked. Okay, I still have most of the video games he was in back in the day when I had the Sony PlayStation 1. NFL Game Day 97. That was one of the games where he actually participated and doing the mocap for that video game. Then NFL Extreme. I remember the commercial for it. It was him golfing, getting hit, ran over by a bunch of Raiders. Okay, that was a commercial he did. NFL Extreme. That was 989 Sports version of NFL Blitz. It was a lesser version of NFL Blitz. It wasn't good as Blitz, but it was still a fun video game. I mean, I enjoyed it. My friends and my cousins enjoyed it. But yeah, that was one of the two video games. Well, that I know that from what I've seen that Tim Brown was famous in. Oh yeah, and then NFL 98, I played that too. Now I basically want to emulate it, but yeah, NFL 98 had him on the front cover because the original NFL Primetime had Deion Sanders on there. I think he was a second cover athlete. I think NFL Primetime 98 that had Tim Brown on there. That was another video game that he was on the front cover, and that was the Sega Genesis days. Okay, so those are the games I remember Tim Brown being in when he was actually like the main cover athlete or the main athlete of those football games. No, Tim Brown worked hard his entire career. Finally, we got a chance to play with Jerry Rice when John Gruden was there. So I'm going to explain this, and I want your subscribers and your people that comment on your video to also pay attention, right? Now, if you're John Gruden, you built that Raider team my cousin Tim Brown was on, my in-law Tim Brown was on from the ground up. Since the early, so he came in around 2000, 2001. So he had already developed that Raider team. Okay? Everybody on there he developed. John Gruden already knew everybody over there. So it doesn't matter what type of playbook Bill Callahan ran. But nobody in their right mind gonna lose on purpose. Bro, that don't make no kind of sense. That's the most retardedest thing I ever heard in my life. Okay? Again, bro, you may need to go talk to somebody. I'm just dead serious, man. Why would a team that's won over 11 games, a Raider team that had to get past the Baltimore Ravens, who were the defending champions just like 2 seasons before that, right? The Baltimore Ravens was not going to be an easy team. I'm going to tell you that right off the top. That team had just beaten up the New York Giants just a season before. And even then, you got to get past the New England Patriots. Getting past Tom Brady. Getting past the Baltimore Ravens, the Tennessee Titans with Steve McNair and Eddie George. That was not going to be easy league at all. This is a Raider team that had to endure John Elway going to a back-to-back Super Bowl, 98 and 99, or 97, 98. All right? So you got to understand this. The Raiders have had to fight, have to scratch and claw their way to that Super Bowl. But if you're John Gruden, you built that Raider team. You get into it with Al Davis because you and Al had a disagreement. It's just like what happened with Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson. Okay, yeah, I watched all those documentaries, so I know, right? You get into it with them, so then you go to the Buccaneers. John Gruden's success with Buccaneers just like what happened with Steve Kerr, the Golden State Warriors. He takes a team that was already established. The problem with the Buccaneers and Tony Dungy was struggling beating the Rams over there on the AFC. He was struggling to beat the Rams, okay? And even before then, the New York Giants, led by Tiki Barber, was beating him. Okay? That's Rondé's twin brother. They were both in Super Bowls. That was so amazing about the twins. Except Rondé was fortunate enough, he was blessed to win his. Tiki fell short. Okay, but that's besides the fact. Anyways, Tony Dungy and the Buccaneers were struggling. So John Gruden had a different coaching, a different style that just worked for the Buccaneers. So think about it. John Gruden's Raiders that he left for the Buccaneers, they go to the AFC Championship game and win without him. And they go to the Super Bowl. Young man, that just means his teams were just that good. John Gruden was that good of a head coach back in them days. He didn't do much of nothing now because his play style don't work for this. The reason why he didn't do good with the Raiders, of all honesty, because his playbooks no longer work. His style of coaching don't work no more. Not with these younger folks. These younger folks are built differently. That's why. Plus, he made too many wrong decisions. He traded Khalil Mack for all those draft picks that didn't turn out that well. But anyways, John Gruden earned that Super Bowl. Brad Johnson, Michael Pittman, Keyshawn Johnson, Warren Sapp, Booger McFarland, Rondé Barber. Those guys earned that Super Bowl because, like the Raiders, they went through the entire conference. They got out the first and second round. They won out fairly. Don't nobody go all that far, work that hard, your team going through injuries for you to just lose to somebody on purpose. I'm sorry. This is not WWE, and I've explained that many times. Because here's the issue with channels like yours. You'll say it's scripted, but yet you'll get a prediction wrong. Now, I came at you last year hard because you made a bold statement, which you deleted that video. You had a video saying that Tom Brady was going to win his 8th Super Bowl. That didn't happen. And I explained why it didn't happen. And what did you do? As soon as the playoffs got around to it was over and it got around to the Super Bowl, you changed up your story. Now it's suddenly, the Rams got home field advantage because they're in SoFi. They're playing at home. That means they're automatically scripted to win. But yet, you said the league was predetermined. You had Tom Brady in there. So if Tom Brady didn't win because you said it's predetermined, that means the league is not predetermined or scripted at all. You made that up, and because you failed, you tried to switch it up. But when you put my cousin, my family in there, I got an issue with that. So I'm going to tell you that nicely. And I don't mean no harm at all, brother. But you need to take down that video or edit it. Take my cousin-in-law's part out of there. And I don't know why you even got Jerry Rice in there at all. Jerry Rice don't lose Super Bowls at all. He's not known for that. That's a 5-time Super Bowl champion in the 1980s. He won 4 in the 80s with Joe Montana, the great Bill Walsh. Then he won with Mariucci in 94 when they beat the Chargers. The only Chargers team that goes to the Super Bowl still to this day. That was Dan Fouts' Chargers team couldn't do it, but they did it. And that was led by Junior Seau. And they also had Stan Humphries. And they had Tony Martin at receiver. Yeah, bro, I know my history. Okay? I'm somebody that's debated you that actually knows and watches the game. Okay? I don't just play the video games. I actually watch the sport. I know many of athletes. I've spoken to many of them. Like I told you, I got family. Tim Brown, just my cousin-in-law. He's a Hall of Famer. Again, my cousin Sharice Weaver sacrificed many nights while her husband in her bedroom sleeping with her because he had to be on the road. Tim Brown worked very hard in his NFL career to help get the Raider team there. Okay, so you say the script rigged. You saying that Tim Brown didn't earn it. They didn't go through all those games, winning all those. You try to say that they just gonna lose on purpose, right? They just paid just for somebody just to embarrass them like that. Come on, man. I have you know that when the Raiders lost that Super Bowl, the fans out here in California rioted. They were pissed off because they didn't want to play John Gruden. They originally wanted the Philadelphia Eagles. They rather played against Donovan McNabb. And look at McNabb. McNabb had to endure 3 NFC Championship games before he could go to the Super Bowl. So let's let you know how hard it was back then. Back then, it was a lot of competition. And McNabb was one of the greatest quarterbacks of the 2000s. Before he played in against that Super Bowl against New England, that man lost to the Carolina Panthers and he lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Before he played against the Atlanta Falcons led by Michael Vick. That man beat the great Michael Vick, which, by the way, to this day, he's better than Lamar Jackson. Without a doubt. Only because Michael Vick got his team out the second round. Lamar still can't do that to this day. Yet, that's why Lamar Jackson ain't getting his payday. But that's a video for a whole nother day. Donovan McNabb even did it without Terrell Owens. Terrell Owens just somebody there to get him over the top. But even he was struggling. Okay? You act like these players ain't struggling. You act like they don't have a hard time. You act like they're not working hard for what they are doing. Again, I'm going to say this again. If you want a championship, you got to earn it. There's winners and there's losers. There's 32 teams in the NFL. Somebody got to lose. And I'm going to let you know this now. When it comes to the WWE, AEW, New Japan Wrestling, right? TNA, and even WCW, ECW, those wrestlers don't keep those belts. It comes a certain time when they got to give those belts up. But when it comes to a Lombardi Trophy, the Stanley Cup, the World Series, the Lombardi Trophy, okay, the Larry O'B, your team keeps those trophies. Those trophies cost around 50 grand, 50,000 for a piece of silver. Big old silver thing, this wide, this long. They keeping those trophies. You know those championship rings about this big that goes on your middle finger or whichever ring finger you choosing from? They keeping those. Just like Tom Brady got all 7 of his rings that he get to keep. That cost him around 30 grand. So let that sink in. I bet you didn't look at how much those championship rings cost. Those players earned those rings fairly. That means they were the best team. Just like last year, Rams was the best team. That team blew Tom Brady out in the regular season. Then in the second round, they beat him again. That just means they're the better team. Don't mean it's scripted at all. That meant absolutely nothing. And in your videos, bro, you got the defense making plays. Because that's what the defense is supposed to do. They're supposed to make the ball carry a fumble. They're supposed to pick off and intercept the ball. They ain't, again, an onside kick don't mean it's scripted. That means the team that's kicking an onside kick is trying to win. They're trying to beat their opponent and give their team a second chance to score another touchdown. Oh, yeah, and that Rams versus Saints playoff NFC Championship game, I already did a video on that. Yeah, the referee didn't call that pass interference call, but the Saints still kicked the field goal. They were up in that game. Why didn't the defense stop Jared Goff? Why couldn't they stop Todd Gurley? Why they couldn't start Cooper Kupp or Tyler Higbee? That's what you got to ask yourself. It's the Saints defense fault they lost that game. Drew Brees did throw an interception. Okay, so again, Drew Brees in that game got the ball back like Brady did. And I'll be honest, had the Chiefs got the ball at overtime, they would have beaten the Patriots. Because Patrick Mahomes is really that unstoppable, bro. And that's another thing. Patrick Mahomes been to 8 AFC Championship games in a row in the last 5 years. That means he's really that good. That's who the Bills still can't beat to this day. Yeah, the Bills about to blown out the Rams the other night, but they can't beat the Chiefs. Give these players their credit, young man. I know what it's like because I've been through the workouts they've been through. Me being a cornerback, I know what to do in cover 1, 2, and 3. Cover 1, we in man. Cover 2, I got the flats. That means anybody come to the outside of my flats, I got a guard. Either the running back, tight end. If the number 2 or number 1 receiver is going inside, I got to call inside so the linebacker can cut off that route. Cover 3, I got an island. I got the deep thirds on cover 3. Cover 4, everybody's dropped deep. Me, I played football before. I understand playbooks. Okay? I'm somebody who has understanding for the game. I done been in film sessions before where my team has to prepare for the opponent. I'm playing semi-pro ball. I done been amongst a lot of athletes in and out the league. Okay? You talking to somebody that's family. I come from a football family. My other cousin, Jonathan Hankins. He's number 90. He currently plays for the Las Vegas Raiders. Mark Davis just re-signed him to a very good, lucrative contract. Jonathan Hankins earned his contract. That man was drafted by Tom Coughlin in the 2014 season. Okay? What's interesting about Jonathan Hankins, that was Ezekiel Elliott's teammate in Ohio State. They were 15-0 his senior year. But because of the suspension that Urban Meyer and Terrell Pryor got, who was the quarterback at the time, they couldn't compete for the BCS championship. Ezekiel Elliott and them had to wait until after Jonathan Hankins' senior class left before they were able to go to a championship in which they beat the Oregon Ducks led by Marcus Mariota. Which, by the way, Mariota is another bust. That man didn't do much of nothing. So, again, man, I don't like the fact that you put my family in that video. Tim Brown don't deserve that. That man's a Hall of Famer at the end of the day. Respect what that man did. That man earned that Hall of Fame award. He earned the right to go to Canton, Ohio. Because that man got stats. He earned those stats. It wasn't scripted for that man to get over 1,000 yards a season. He earned all that. He won all those games. I don't appreciate that at all. Leave my family out of it. Because, bro, again, the reason why a lot of these players say it's scripted because these players are envious. They don't want to put blame on themselves. It's their fault they lost. It's their fault their team didn't get to a Super Bowl. It's their fault they didn't get to a championship game. It's their own fault. Like Junior Gillette, right? The main reason why they didn't talk about his lawsuit because Brian Flores had his own lawsuit going on with the Miami Dolphins as a head coach. So they figured that was they figured Brian Flores' case was more important because the man was bringing up racism just like Colin Kaepernick. I don't respect the fact that Junior Gillette brought up that other football player's name in it. Why would you bring up Monty's name from the Buffalo Bills? He ain't did nothing to Junior Gillette at all. That was messed up. You want to talk about that man's bag, but yet Junior Gillette had got a network of 48 million. I showed you. I got a video right now. I can show you that whole man's contract. I got a video where I can expose Junior Gillette now. Right? But again, Rig NFL breakdowns. I'm gonna tell you this nicely. Take my cousin's video out your edit. You gotta edit that video. Take that video down. You got my family in there. I don't like that. My cousin Sharice don't deserve you talk about her husband like that. Leave Tim Brown out of it. Tim Brown and Jerry Rice, those are Hall of Famers. Why would you include them in the video? Well, those guys have never once said the league is scripted or rigged at all. Never. Stop editing the video for interpret the way you want to interpret it, because all you're doing is misleading people. Okay? But I'm not stupid. I wasn't born yesterday. You can't fool me like you fool them. Again, I'm saying it nicely. Right? I'm not trying to start no beef, but you making it real personal. Take my cousin's video off. Edit that video and take my cousin's part out of there. Tim Brown don't deserve that at all, man. Don't screw that man's name up. Because how you think us as his own family members felt we had to watch him lose that Super Bowl? How you think we felt? How you think his children felt? Okay? The man worked his entire career to get there, and then he got to watch another team, his former head coach against him in that Super Bowl. Come on, man. Just stop, man. They didn't lose on purpose. Because in that video, they just told you it was Bill Callahan's fault. Bill Callahan didn't stick to the same strategy. And that's just Bill Callahan being scared of John Gruden. If Bill Callahan didn't have no fear, maybe things would have been a different story. But that's Bill Callahan's fault. Don't blame that on them. Them players didn't want to lose on purpose. Nobody wants to lose on purpose. We all want the same thing. They all want the same thing. But the reality of it, there's winners and then there's losers. Brother, that's just how life is. Because that's the case, Rick, NFL breakdowns. Is it scripted that you got to pay bills? Is it scripted that you got to pay your taxes? Matter of fact, so you think everything is fake? Did everything Colin Kaepernick go through with his lawsuit? The NFL had to pay this man money, right? He accusing these owners of racism. Was that all scripted? That the NFL gave him on his own combine, that he decided to change the workout and make those scouts leave Atlanta and waste extra gas going to his workout? Was that all scripted? And for him to make that documentary saying that the NFL combine is slavery, right? Was that scripted too then? So if you think everything in the NFL script, that means what Junior Gillette is going through is scripted too. Come on, let's just be honest, bro. Like I'm trying to comprehend what you're doing in your videos. Because now you see how stupid you look. You ain't the only one saying the league is scripted. It's thousands of other channels doing that. But I'm telling you this right now. You got better things you need to be talking about. Again, I debated you just as going back and forth, right? But now you made it personal. Okay? So I'm just telling you right now, if you don't want no beef between me and you got to take my cousin's video, take that video down that got my cousin in it. Do not mess with family at all. I'm warning you now. I don't play around when it comes to my family. I don't. Okay? And I'm coming at you as a man. I'm not a coward. I'm not running. Now, I'm welcome to have a debate. My Instagram is Z the Preacher. I'm going to post it on your channel too. Let's have an actual debate. Or we can have a debate on YouTube. You can bring your subscribers, I'll bring mine. Let's have a real debate. Let's talk some real sports. Let's talk real numbers. But of course, you're probably not going to do that because you're hiding behind that logo. And that's another thing I don't understand too. How you going to say it's scripted and rigged, but yet your whole logo of your channel is the NFL logo? Yet, you the one that's trying to gamble and make money from it. It don't make no sense. Come on now, man. You really think people are that freaking stupid to put $5 into your Patreon for you to bet, and yet Tom Brady lost a Super Bowl? Your prediction failed. Yet you want to get on my channel, right, and get on me for me having the wrong prediction, but I'm not the one saying the league is scripted. I'm not the one saying it's predetermined. You going by conspiracy theory. I'm not. I base my prediction on what I've seen from the regular season because I watch all these games. Last year, I played fantasy football, so I know all these stats. Okay? I'm paying attention to everything. Okay? Yes, my Cowboys didn't do it. I wanted to go with my Cowboys because they was 12-5. They had a way better record than they did the first year Mike McCarthy took over that team. Mike McCarthy's first year in, they won 7 games. That last season, they won 12 games, so I gave them a chance. But the 49ers beat them. And by the way, and speaking of Dwight Smith, Green Bay ain't even the best team. How is Green Bay the best team when they just lost to a 49er team led by Jimmy Garoppolo? The same Jimmy Garoppolo just got his spot taken by Trey Lance. They done gave Trey Lance Jimmy Garoppolo's starting position. But the Green Bay supposed to be the best team. Aaron Rodgers just got a 4th MVP. Yet this man came and get his team back to a Super Bowl like Patrick Mahomes did. But he's supposed to be the best team. Dwight Smith embarrassed himself in front of them white folks. Yeah, I responded to that video too. So for your subscribers, they gonna see how much of a fool you are. But when it comes to my family, bro, I don't play around with that. You ain't gonna put my cousin and you ain't gonna put my family on your own videos. That's not what you're gonna do. Leave my cousin out of it. Tim Brown don't deserve that at all. Because your videos already scrutinized in the league, but you trying to say everything he did was for nothing. It was fake. That means all them yards he accomplished, all them Pro Bowls he got, all his achievements was for nothing. That's what you're basically saying. You telling my cousin he didn't earn it. No, I don't want to hear that at all. And you got Jerry Rice on there that done already won 5 rings before he came to the Raiders. All with the 49ers. Had the Raiders beat the Buccaneers, Jerry Rice would have had just as many rings as Michael Jordan. Tom Brady wouldn't even be the first NFL athlete with 6 rings. That would have been Jerry Rice. So think about that while you know what I'm saying, doing these videos. There's better things you need to be talking about, young man. Stop scrutinizing the league. Because you just mad that your Tom Brady pick lost. And yeah, Tom Brady came back. That don't mean he's going to win. And I got a video on that too. I got a part 1 and part 2 explaining why Tom Brady's not going to win an 8th ring just because he came back. That don't mean nothing. That means absolutely nothing. Because Brett Favre did the same thing in 2008. He went on the Jets, lost, and he went to the Vikings and failed. Okay? But again, warn you right now, bro. If you don't take that video down that I flagged, me and you finna have a problem. We're going to be beefing. But I'm trying to be respectful right now. I'm trying to be nice about this, but again, you wearing my patience, man. That's sad. Because even Monty Washington, all these players that say that the league is scripted, I can expose them from being losers. I got footage right now. Junior Gillette did absolutely nothing in his entire NFL career. He may be a Pro Bowler, but where was all that when they lost to the 49ers led by Alex Smith? Where was all that when he was getting beat up by the Seattle Seahawks? Where was that Pro Bowl mentality when the Atlanta Falcons and the Panthers went to a Super Bowl beating them up? Okay? That division was weak. Still to this day, the Saints can't get back to a Super Bowl. Right? That Bounty Gate, that exposed them. Okay? Yeah, I know my football. I watch everything. I don't believe the league is scripted because that's not reality. These athletes work way too hard, brother. You got black folks like me that's playing in the league that came from the ghetto. Watching their friends get killed young. Surrounded by all this type of drugs, all this gang violence. I remember Deion said this, you know what I'm saying, just recently. There's a video recorded Deion said in the locker room. This man said, why are y'all on y'all cell phones? You should be taking this game seriously. This type of game gonna be the game that's gonna save your family and put you in a better home. Deion Sanders takes this game seriously, and he's a true champion. That's who I looked up to growing up. See, Ray and Faye breakdowns, I don't expect you to understand, because you probably somebody that lives in the suburbs, right? Both parents living nicely. But you don't understand what some of these athletes got to go through, especially the ones who grew up in the hood. They don't want to be in a scripted game. That's why not too many black folks go to WWE. That's why ain't too many black wrestlers like that. Yeah, there's the Big E Langstons, there's the Sasha Banks, but that's only 5% out of 99. Most black athletes choose baseball, football, and basketball because those sports truly aren't scripted. They're not rigged like that. Okay? The championships they win, they get to keep. But again, the reality of it, there's winners and there's losers. When you're in a league with 32 teams, somebody's got to lose. That's the reality of it. And let's do the math, right? I want y'all, matter of fact, where's my phone? Let's do some math, okay? Because y'all believe everything is scripted. I'm going to show you. It's way too many players to the script. Let's see, 53 times 32. Look at that number. That's how many active football players there is in this league entirely. 1,696. That's the 53-man roster. Each team got to submit a 53 roster before the season even started. So why in the world would somebody waste time writing a script for that many players? Let's just think logically for a second, bro. Like this goes for everybody, right? For everybody that think the league is scripted, ask yourself, why would somebody in their right mind waste hours amongst hours of time writing a script for that many players? When, for one, injuries do happen. People tear their ACL, they tear their Achilles. I got to dislocate. I can still show you the line where I had my shoulder dislocated. People really do get injuries. They get concussions, right? That happens. Then you got people like Henry Ruggs. They get behind the wheel, full of that weed, and they drunk out of their mind. They get high, and they drive in a car, and they wind up crashing, wind up killing somebody. Henry Ruggs is going to spend the rest of his life in jail behind bars on 3 different charges. Okay? That man went to jail. The Raiders just wasted a first-round draft pick on him. And now he's in jail. That wasn't for the grace of God that they was able to replace him with Devontae Adams. Okay? But I want y'all to think about that. Even the Giants kicker, I think they punter. That man just got charged with rape. Deshaun Watson is suspended for 7 games behind his charge. Just like what happened to Ezekiel Elliott, right? Those stuff happen, people. That's just life. These football players, again, some of them are crazy. Off camera. Look at Urban Meyer. How you get fired off of work? That man got fired going to a strip club. The Jacksonville Jaguars just fired Urban Meyer last year. It is his first season with them, right? And then look at Tim Tebow. See, if the game was really scripted, Tim Tebow would never got cut from the Jaguars. Matter of fact, if the game was really scripted like that, Tim Tebow and Sam Bradford would have faced each other in a Super Bowl like they did in the BCS National Championship game when it was Florida versus Oklahoma. Yeah, really, NFL breakdowns. I saw that game too back in 2009. Okay, I've been watching football a very long time, brother, since 1994 when I was 4 years old. If the game was really scripted, then how come Adrian Peterson don't have a championship ring on his finger? If the game was really scripted, how come Barry Sanders couldn't lead the Detroit Lions to a Super Bowl? Why did they lose to the Washington when they were the Redskin era? Matter of fact, if it was really scripted, don't you know that Jim Kelly would at least won one of those rings? You would have won one of those Super Bowls. Jim Kelly led the Buffalo Bills to 4 Super Bowls. This is long before Josh Allen even came into the league, right? This is long before now. In 1994, the Buffalo Bills lost to the New York Giants, Washington when they were the Redskins, and then my Dallas Cowboys twice, 4 times in a row. Yet, they couldn't get a ring. Is it because the league is scripted? Or no, that just wasn't a good team. The general manager didn't go off and get another free agent to help that team. The head coach didn't try to go with it something else. He kept running the same thing with the same team and thought it was going to work against those other teams. No. And even the Minnesota Vikings, the Frank Tarkenton Minnesota Vikings went through the same thing the Buffalo Bills did. They lost 4 Super Bowls in 1 decade to the Raiders, Dolphins, Chiefs, and the Washington Redskins. Or excuse me, not the Redskins, the Steelers. Yeah, I think it was Steelers, Raiders, Chiefs, and the Dolphins, right? Them 4 teams, if I'm not mistaken. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Yes, once upon a time, Rig NFL breakdowns, the Minnesota Vikings was in the Super Bowl. But again, that was in our parents' time when they were kids. We weren't born then. And even then, that generation didn't believe in no scripted league. No, hell no. Not when black folks was getting lynched. Not when black people were getting segregated. It was a rough time. Not when the Black Panthers was around trying to bring justice. Bad, that was the wrong time. No. See, you're the breakdown. So your generation believing that's nonsense. I believe in reality because I believe in working hard for mine. Okay, but before I end this video, bro, I'm gonna say it nicely now as possible as I can, and I'm calm about it. Take that video down because you including my family in there, which is disrespectful. Tim Brown didn't do nothing to you at all. He don't deserve that. That man is in the NFL Hall of Fame because he earned it. Did nobody give him nothing? Not a damn thing. My cousin Jonathan Hankins earned his spot with the Raiders. And he ain't the only one I know neither. John Ross II that played for the Bengals, right? The team that just went to the Super Bowl. He got drafted by. And he played for the Giants, and now he's on the Packers. He went to Long Beach, Jordan like I did. Same high school. He came in while my senior class was basically graduated. I used to go back and watch him during homecoming. He earned his NFL contract. John Timo, right? That played for the Chicago Bears. That was John Fox's. John Fox was his head coach. Okay, the same John Fox that lost the Super Bowl with the Panthers and the Broncos got blown out by the Seattle Seahawks. That wasn't scripted either. Nobody gonna try to script a blowout. That's bad ratings. John Tebow went undrafted. But John Tebow never once said the league was scripted rigged. No. The man wasn't even in the league that long. He went around maybe 3 or 4 seasons. But John Tebow played out the rest of the contract. Now he's the defensive coordinator for the LA Chargers. My family went to go see them play when they played against the Cowboys. Never once said the league was scripted rigged because he don't believe in that. These elites ain't got nothing to do with the game. Nothing. Julian Gillette is out of his mind. That's why nobody takes him seriously. That's why they're not going to cover that lawsuit. It's stupid. He's not going to win neither. I looked into that lawsuit neither. It's stupid. He ain't going to win that lawsuit. It don't make any sense. So, I'm going to tell you this now, bro. You need to stop it. Yeah, you stop trying to scrutinize the league. Yet, you the one trying to make money from it. If y'all, and this goes for anybody that's trying to gamble. Before I end this video, if you're trying to gamble, right, you trying to bet money, do it the right way. Get you a magazine like I just did on my channel. Get you an Absalom Sports magazine. Matter of fact, get you one of these. You see this? iReads. This magazine has everything in it. Yes, the breakdown on every team, every player, who went where, who team got which head coach. Get you one of these if you go bet money. If you're in the fantasy football league, this is the magazine you get. You get you some reading material. iReads. That's why my comprehension skills is high because I read for myself. I don't just take an analyst's word for it. I don't just listen to Chris Broussard or Nick Wright. I don't listen to Shannon Sharp or Skip Bayless. I read for myself. That's why most of my picks are more accurate. Rigging it for breakdowns, you don't even have a single tier list on your video. Your channel has none of that. You told me you know the strict weeks of each team. You don't. You don't understand football. That's why you have to keep saying the scripted read because you don't understand play calling. You don't understand stats or statistics at all. You don't understand that teams is all about matchups with certain teams. Certain teams match up well against other teams. You don't understand that everybody's IQ is not the same. So, I'm just, again, take that video down that got my cousin in it. Okay? Leave him alone. Right? Anyways, y'all, that's the video. Right? I hope we can get this understanding. Because I don't hate you at all. I'm not trying to be mean. I debated you because, again, I wanted to prove that the league is not scripted. Like you say it is. You lost. You said it's predetermined. You said it was scripted. And I proved it was not scripted. You said because it's Tom Brady, the league is going to give him his 8th Super Bowl ring. And teams like the Rams, because even then, let's just keep it real. Had the Buccaneers been playing the Green Bay Packers in the second round, and even the San Francisco 49ers, they would have lost. If that same 49 team beat the Rams before the season ended, what do you think they was going to do to the Buccaneers? Even my Dallas Cowboys in a rematch would have beaten Tom Brady. Okay? He didn't have the best team. That's just all that proves. And Aaron Donald was a 4-time league defensive MVP. Way better player than Junior Gillette. Junior Gillett's not even MVP in the league, so why is he talking? Monty Washington, not even a top 5 running back. He's nowhere near the level that Le'Veon Bell, Ezekiel Elliott, James Stewart, Derrick Henry is. He's no Shady McCoy. I don't remember Monty Washington ever getting a 2,000-yard season. So why does he say the league is scripted? Unless it comes off as somebody that's trying to blame somebody else for his problems. Just like Larry Johnson. Larry Johnson didn't say the league was scripted, and he didn't start breaking up all these elites, right, until after Patrick Mahomes was MVP and started bringing his Chiefs to the championship games. Then he started showing up. His career ended early because he got in trouble behind a domestic abuse. He hits women upside the head. Not to forget to mention his teams couldn't beat the Jets, the Chargers, the Patriots, or the Steelers, let alone the Ravens. They were not good enough. And Tony Gonzalez Larry Johnson had Tony Gonzalez, Ty Law, Trent Green, Priest Holmes, and Joe Horn on his football team. The Chiefs had a squad. They just, again, they weren't good enough to get out the first round, let alone the second round. With Herm Edwards as a head coach, who wasn't gonna win nothing. League ain't rigged or scripted, yo. I'm sorry. And I ain't the only one that's proved this neither. I got videos on my channel that proves the league ain't scripted. It's just people don't like to lose. That's y'all best excuse for losing. You said scripted is your way to say I'm not at fault for gambling on the wrong team. I'm not at fault for losing my money. Just like you got the nerve to blame Vegas. Vegas ain't got nothing to do with it. Vegas can't control the outcome of a game. Because at the end of the day, Las Vegas ain't the ones that got to go into that film room and study. Vegas ain't going to can't score a touchdown for these players. They the ones who got to score a touchdown. If y'all want to put the blame on somebody, put the blame on the players themselves for losing. They're the ones that got to outscore their opponent. They're the ones that got to kick a field goal. They're the ones that got to return the football. It's not the referee's fault. It's not the league's fault. It's not the Illuminati's fault. It's not the president's fault. It's the player's fault. Okay? Have some accountability. That's all about being a responsible grown-up. And that's reality. Okay? But other than that, take care. God bless. Y'all have a safe day. But again, brother, take that video down. Okay? That's it. I'm done.